Step into the shadows, traveler. I am the Black Knight, the eternal sentinel of these misty woods, and I'd like to personally welcome you to this theatrical explainer of mortal pride. Today, we're not journeying through the sunlit, triumphant halls of some grand castle. No, we're diving straight into the dark, tangled roots of the human ego. You're here seeking knowledge, understanding, just like the heroes of old sought glory. Well, let's see if your mind can withstand the grim truth that broke the bravest souls of a golden age. A void in steel. I stand where the light of the round table dares not flicker. Okay, let's dive into this. I offer no parley, and I certainly seek no glory, because my blade is literally the only law in the endless silence of these woods. You see, to face me is to realize that some shadows simply cannot be outrun. They have to be embraced in the absolute finality of the strike. I am the unending dark against which all these so-called champions measure their flickering light.
Section 1. The Shadow Upon the Path.
I am the silent sentinel, right in the misty heart of the ancient forest. For ages, the absolute finest of Camelot, you know, those relentless seekers of glory and self-proclaimed pillars of justice, would find their grand journeys suddenly and violently interrupted by my presence. To King Arthur, I was a test of supreme strategy. To the mighty Lancelot, a grueling test of physical endurance. And to Gawain, a profound test of spirit. Yet in every single clash, they met an inhuman, chilling precision. I felt absolutely no pain. I shed no blood. I never grew weary. When they struck me, I didn't falter in anger, and when I was bested, I never, ever begged for mercy. I simply vanished back into the creeping fog, leaving these living legends with a haunting realization. They survived the encounter, for sure, but they never truly conquered the force standing before them.
Section 2. The Illusion of Light. Let's move on and see how this builds. Shadows only truly exist where light attempts to shine, right? Now, what's really interesting about this contrast is the stark difference between our existences. On one side, you have the Silver Knight. He's clad in polished silver armor, deeply etched with the deeds of his many victories, completely fueled by immense pride and this constant thirst for glory. He's the kind of man whose shadow never even seems to touch the ground. And then there's me, the Black Knight, draped in dark iron, seeking absolutely zero glory, just a silent sentinel, on the unyielding mountain standing right in the path of his sun, casting a long, eternal shadow where no flower could ever possibly bloom. His is a fleeting, polished vanity. Mine is the eternal, dark iron truth.
Section 3. The Mossy Stone Bridge.
The stage for our inevitable confrontation was set one fateful evening. Picture a Golden Age hero marching confidently across an old, moss-covered stone bridge, only to find his path utterly, silently blocked. A silent monolith of iron draped in armor so incredibly black it actually seems to drink the moonlight, offering no banner and no challenge whatsoever. I just waited there. My presence was heavy and suffocating, exactly like a dark storm quietly gathering in the dead silence of an empty, ancient hall. I occupied the exact threshold between the untamed mystical forest and his civilized open road.
Naturally, his ego immediately started making demands. Fueled by this blinding pride, he violently draws his blade and demands I move out of his way. He spoke loudly of his noble titles. He flaunted his high lineage. He loudly claimed the absolute righteousness of his cause. Honestly, it's almost amusing looking back on it. His supposed brilliance, all those loud proclamations, they were really just desperate attempts to add shine to his own name, to convince himself of his supremacy and worth before the actual battle even started.
Section 4. The Mirror of Iron.
But here's the thing. Steel against steel was never the true battle. We're moving away from the physical clash on the bridge now and getting into the far deeper, far darker psychological allegory of our encounter. So, the crucial point is that the Mirror of Iron isn't some physical shield you can just hold in your hand. And I'm not merely a man standing there in a suit of dark metal. I am a psychological reflection of true mortal vanity, of deeply hidden sins, and totally unchecked ambition. I am the exact reflection of a knight's own hidden arrogance, a dark mirror that brutally and systematically strips away all their comforting illusions.
Every traveler who approaches carries a mirror, they call a shield. Yet they see only their own secret fears reflected in my midnight surface. I want to ask you directly, traveler watching this explainer, when you armor yourself each morning to face the challenges of your world, what hidden fears are you actually carrying? What deep-seated vanities do you conceal right beneath your own everyday armor, desperately hoping they never catch the light?
Section 5. The Shattering of Pride.
When the Silver Knight finally swung his blade in anger, it wasn't some grand clash of heroic steel ringing out into the night. No way. It was instead a devastating, relentless psychological unwinding. Step 1. The charge of ego. He swung with all the furious might of his pride. But to strike me is to strike the earth itself. I didn't fall. Every single blow he landed felt exactly like hitting his own reflection. Then, step 2. The reflection of sin. Staring right into my dark, featureless armor, he didn't see an enemy. He saw the profound vanity behind his own bravery, the completely unnecessary blood left staining the path to his so-called glory. And finally, step 3, the collapse of vanity. The crushing, absolute realization that his entire existence, once stripped of his deeds, was nothing more than an empty, hollow title.
The hero collapses, his sword shattered, his pride completely stripped bare. And let it be known, I did not strike him down. I didn't kill him. I didn't need to. I am the immense weight of every unspoken regret that eventually, inevitably halts the progress of the soul. He literally fell under the suffocating, crushing gravity of his own unresolved darkness.
Section 6. The Heavy, Holy Burden. The battle concluded not with a dramatic death, but with a haunting aftermath. It was a complete and total inner transformation of the Golden Hero. He finally faced the truth he had spent his entire life running from. The light he projected was only ever as bright as the darkness he refused to acknowledge. And this brilliantly illustrates the cruelest irony of all. I simply stood aside. His survival actually became a far heavier fate than a simple defeat in combat ever would have been. By leaving him there in the mist, alive, I burdened him with a wholly terrible task, the task of finally truly knowing himself, completely stripped of his silver illusions. And so, we reach the end of our dark tale. As I fade back into the misty forest, forever waiting for the next seeker of glory to cross my path, I leave you with this chilling question. When you meet the shadow on your path, what will your mirror reveal? Will it be true strength or just polished vanity? Think on that, traveler, until our paths inevitably cross again.